Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, AS400 Resources Retiring, coming to you from beautiful Eden Prairie here in Minnesota and Peterborough in the UK. Thanks for joining us. Today, our topic is dealing with the challenges around staffing for IBM I. This turned out to be a top concern in the 2019 IBM I Marketplace study, and a top concern for Help Systems, obviously, as we have a vested interest in fostering IBM I talent and helping our customers make best use of limited resources with automation and security tools for IBM I. And my name is Chuck Lisinski. I'm the Director of Technical Solutions here at Help Systems, and I'm joined today by two of my software heroes in the industry, Tom Huntington and Donnie McCall. Good morning.
Good morning, Chuck.
Yeah,
Good morning,
Tom,
Chuck
go
and
ahead.
Tom.
Yeah, and Tom, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Well, I think I was Mr. Gleam, if you remember the commercials back then with this kind of
Oh, let's
smile.
do
I
the
don't know.
age progression here, Tom.
Yeah,
Hang
was
on,
that
hang
30 years
tight.
ago? I'm not sure. Anyways, Executive Vice President of Technical Solutions at Help Systems and IBM Power Champion. Happy to be with you guys to talk about this topic, which is a hot topic and a concern for many in the industry.
And Donnie.
Thanks, Chuck. Yeah, Donnie McCall. I just want to point something out. My hair is still grey. It was grey when I was 26 years old, as you can see in the previous photograph, which coincidentally, I'm sure coincidentally tied in with me getting married. But as that previous photo was purely for charity. That's not my normal hairdo, but great to be joining you all today.
Okay, thanks, Donnie. Well, okay, so let's lay this landscape a little bit. Our intention today is to share what we've learned over the past few years discussing this topic with customers, partners, and educators around the world. We've been applying these principles here internally at Help Systems and hope that you find this an opportunity to share some of what you've experienced as well. So feel free to send us any information via chat. And of course, we will have a couple of polling slides as well today. And Donnie, you're probably the youngest one amongst our participants today. Does any of this look familiar to you?
Unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say, it all looks familiar. I think for me, the bit that gives me a feeling in my stomach of terror is the twin X cabling and the times I spent up in roofs trying to get the cabling working and realizing I wasn't very good at doing stuff like that, Chuck.
Boy, and those were very stiff, tough cables, and they were tough to put around the office. I think of it kind of as the good old days as being easy to secure. All you had to do was go up to the terminal and lock it.
Well, how many pins I broke off over the years forcing those things into other pieces of equipment is mind-boggling. The tape drive to me, Chuck, is a crazy one to think that that's what we used to use, and even before that, diskette, of course.
Yeah, so we've got a polling question to start the webinar with, and the question is, when did you get your start with IBM I technology? All right, was it possibly in or related technology, maybe back in the System 36 days? Tom and Donnie, I know you had your hands on System 38 and of course AS400 in 1988, I-Series, and then IBM I. Hard to believe, IBM I, 11 years, Tom.
It's crazy. And then some of the technology we still use today was built into that first System 38, like journaling, the local journaling anyways. Remote journaling's new, but backup and recovery, a lot of those same commands exist today. So, and the other thing that's mind-boggling, look at that, IBM I. It's been around for 11 years already. Yet so many of us still call it an AS400.
Right.
It's not. It's an IBM I.
Right.
And by popular demand, Steve Will's going to be back this summer to do. It's not AS400. It's IBM I.
Gotcha. Okay, let's close the poll and let's share the results. This is kind of interesting. So we do definitely have some veterans, and looks like we've got some folks who really only have been involved with IBM I.
That's wonderful.
Interesting. Awesome. All right. And let's hide the poll, and we're going to talk about what's happening in the IBM I industry. Tom.
Yeah, let's do that. So, we do the marketplace study. We've done that now for 5 years. And one of the things that we keep hearing year over year is concerns for IBM I skills. And I think, it kind of goes along. I had a call just yesterday with a customer doing a technology update, and he said, "Where do I go for education anymore? I can't find education." Well, you know, the format for education has changed quite a bit. It's online. It's in user guides, but those user guides are PDFs. They're no longer, you don't have that big stack of work management guides and backup and recovery guides and programming guides like you used to. It's all online. And yet, along the way, we have this great event called Common that still exists that people can take advantage of. So, part of what we need to do is change what we're using and how we're going after our education these days. And as we look at encouraging what's happening with Common, one of the initiatives Common has is to bring younger talent into the event. So over the past three years, in the fall anyways, they've had over 100 students attend Common. And Donnie, over to you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, a really good way of trying to get people into the industry as well, Tom. And as a lot of you may know, Help Systems actually sponsor 2 students each year. What we do is we sponsor a couple of students to attend IBM Coleman, we pay their fees, we get them there. And we don't do it just to be nice. What we do is we ask the students to attend sessions that we're actually putting on ourselves, maybe Robin Tatum or Champion Tom or Carol Woodbury, various sessions that we promote. We ask the students to attend them, and we ask them to also just discuss with everybody they see there what IBM is, why it's a great system for modern technologies and applications as well as legacy applications, and why we think it's worth it as younger people to actually learn about the platform and definitely consider a career utilising it. Tom, do you say that the Q user do the same? Do they sponsor a student too?
Yeah, I'll
Oh,
jump on top of that. Yeah, as a Q user or a local user group here in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area in Minnesota, we have been sponsoring a student as well. And I'd encourage other user groups around the country, and for that matter, around the world, to participate in that. There's a scholarship program that Common encourages both industry partners as well as user groups to participate in. Yeah, and we've done that for several years now.
that's great. Another great resource that you can use is common.org. Now, if you haven't been to the common.org website, please do pay it a visit and bookmark it, pay it a regular visit. It's got a great look and feel now. It's come right up into the modern era. Some of the things you'll see there with the Common Challenge, forgive the pun, is if you go to common.org and community, you'll find lots of information there. But amongst it, you'll see this article from Laura Oberhor. Now, Laura Oberhor is at the Michigan ITech user group, and I met her years ago when I came from the UK to the first IBM Common, 15 or 20 years ago. And Laura is the first smiling person I met to welcome me in. Now, what's great about Laura and lots of other people is she's a volunteer. She's a long-term passionate member, advocate of the IBM community. She volunteers at IBM Common and her own user group. She also talks about, and she's written articles promoting and encouraging the next generation, as you can see here on IBM I. The idea is we want to attract new members to the IBM I community, and please, can we just ask you to join in sharing your experiences of the IBM I world, whether it's on LinkedIn or Twitter or any other way that you can, just to harbour a vibrant community and keep it going. Now, we mentioned the larger groups. There's lots of user groups, lots of meetups. This is the most recent updated list from the Common Organisation of meetups and user groups. You'll see that again on our website. You'll see that on the Common.org community local user group. Key user, as you mentioned, that's a group local to Tom and Chuck in the Minneapolis headquarters near there. I've had the privilege, I've been very lucky over the years to attend many of the user groups on this list. I'd love to attend all of them. Absolutely brilliant. What is a common theme? Again, pardon the pun with all of them. Every single one of them is welcoming to new and old talent alike. They're very open to sharing why you should work and join this community. And keep an eye on this page because it's expanding, which is great. You don't need to remember them all. Like I say, you go to common.org under community and click on local user groups. You'll see all these here as well.
Yeah, and Donnie, I'll mention just from a Q user standpoint that we've had topics on things like Git, on Ruby, on rational developer, and so forth. So we're
AI.
pushing. Yeah, AI. We did a session on AI. That's right. So
And then the other thing you guys do is, don't you broadcast a lot of your sessions too over WebEx or
we
GoTo?
are starting to do that now. Yes, so
Mhm.
we're starting to develop a remote membership, so to speak.
Yeah.
Really neat. Excellent. And what you will see, although we spoke quite about a number of the US-based user groups, the community worldwide is large. Now, as you'd expect, the number of people attending isn't as high, but percentage-wise, I think we're looking similar for the amount of people in the country to the people that attend. These are the international user groups. Now, for me being based in the UK, I've been to most of these, to be honest. I've even been lucky enough to go across to ISAC in Japan. Common Sweden, for example, it was known as Data 3, and it's kind of merged to become Common Sweden. Denmark as well. So in the Nordic regions, very, very passionate community, very active people in that community in the Denmark, Netherlands, Sweden, and the UK, and all the places mentioned in this slide. They are well attended. They all have, as Tom mentioned, great content, huge amount of education, and to say, none of them as big as the US Common event, but it's definitely worth going. There's good attendees. Most important thing is there's always room for more. So look, if you're traveling or you've got a good reason to travel to one of the countries listed here for work or for vacation, try and take some time out to attend it if you haven't been there at the right time. It's well worth it.
And if you are in the challenging category of looking to attract talent into your organization, the common theme that Donnie has been talking a little bit about here is you're looking to both mentor and develop new talent. Don't expect to go out there and place an advertisement for somebody with 10 years of IBM I experience. You're looking for somebody with a passion for software development or systems operations and so forth, and it's going to be up to you folks to mentor that talent, mentor them both on the operating system, mentor them in terms of the business processes at your organization. Certainly reach out to your local four-year or technical colleges regarding their programs. Absolutely be open to new programming techniques. RDI, of course, is quite popular. In fact, we will have a RDI webinar coming up at the very end of the month. Look to RPG free format and so forth. I mentioned Python, PHP, and so forth. And continue to educate yourself on the platform, and that's what those user groups are all about. And just to quote Jim Buck of Empower Technologies, he's been an educator, RPG educator for many, many years on the platform. Is these kids get it, so to speak. The 20-somethings, in fact, the photos you see down below are actual employees, real life employees of Help Systems, and we've got a lot more on top of that. Tom, any comments?
Yeah, Chuck, and I'll add in that IBM has a program called Fresh Faces. If you haven't heard about this, go out to your friend Google it with IBM I, and you'll find different stories about young professionals who have joined and are using IBM I technology. And another slogan out there for IBM or campaign, if you have somebody on your team that fits that younger professional profile, IBM would like to talk to them. So just reach out to me and I'll put you in contact with the right people to share your staff's experiences on IBM I.
Yeah, that'd be great. And with that, let's talk about where you are sitting with IBM I technology and the folks that are running that. So complete this sentence. The IBM I experience at our company has been slowly dwindling, has left the building, and we're struggling. We're mentoring new talent, is soon to retire, and we're doing just fine. All right, we're getting a good mix here. We are getting some good participation.
Right.
Really good.
Awesome. Thank you guys for doing that. It makes the webinar so much better by you participating in these polling questions.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd say Tom and Donnie, and we'll take a look at two different perspectives here on the U.S. side and on the European side. Certainly, we've been doing a lot of hiring here, and the folks coming in the door, the kids, so to speak, the fresh faces coming in the door, they don't know the platform, And so our experience is that they do get it. They, you know, they are teachable.
They learn a lot faster.
All right, let's share the results. About a third of our audience, slowly dwindling. We've got 7% have left the building and they're struggling. 27% mentoring new talent. Love to hear that. Soon to retire, 38%. And about 22%, 20% or so doing just fine. Interesting. Okay, we're going to hide that poll and we're going to move on.
Yeah, let's talk about what we can do about this, right? So one of the things that we've been focusing on for years is automation. And what automation is not just about running your system unattended. It's taking those mundane tasks that somebody's maybe been doing manually for you and automating them. It's also about replacing some of the old code that maybe you have written to run automation and put them more into tools. So on IBM I, one of the things that's been really neat about this box is if you want to run it unattended, you can. You know, over 57% of the marketplace runs IBM I unattended. The other thing about IT technology and staffing is it's not just an IBM I issue. There's a study I found from Korn and Ferry from last May, so not even a year old now, in the global talent crunch, and that by 2030 there will be an 85 million people shortage, not just in IT, but across the board in the workforce, which is going to cause a lot of technology companies to really struggle to grow their businesses because they lack the talent and the labor force to get it done. So when you think it's just, oh darn, I want to get off IBM I because I can't find talent, it's an issue on all platforms when it comes to technology and the shortage of labor. So, you know, the nice thing about IBM I, it just runs, and if you can find the right mix of employees so that you don't find yourself with everybody retired, it's a really good environment for you to be in.
Yeah, exactly. And really, you should be going down this path now and don't wait till your IBM I talent leaves the building, so to speak. So in talking about automation, we're not talking about just IBM I, which definitely lends itself toward automation, but any resources in your IT operations. What should automation look like? First of all, of course, it's going to augment your staff. If you're a growing business and you cannot add resources, I don't know of any IT departments that are overstaffed and that are adding a lot of resources. So freeing up those resources to work on the business and not necessarily operations are important. Obviously, making your team more productive, making the business more competitive because you can react quicker. In fact, I can think of a case where online orders were a batch of online orders were delayed because of the Christmas season, and because of the automation that was in place, the order processing system was able to react to those orders coming in as soon as they were received, rather than having a bunch of manual processes in place. One of the buzzwords, so to speak, that we hear in industry a lot of is RPA, or robotic process automation, automating those mundane tasks that Tom just mentioned. A lot of benefit there, repetitive tasks. And it's not just automating the task to make it run more efficiently, but also preventing errors. So certainly automation should not be looked at as a negative. Don't be scared. And obviously you're going to run into obstacles or roadblocks that need to be overcome, but you know what? We're all a smart bunch, and between the software technology that's available and the experience that we have, we can get by those roadblocks. Not to mention Tom's favorite topic, firefighting. Yeah. Yeah, when you're running things manually, and hopefully you're preventing enough errors that firefighting's not going to be an issue, or at least not so much. So what to automate? Certainly automating those batch processes, that ought to be number one. Automating backups, doing HA replication over to another partition somewhere. So if you do need to do some kind of a role swap, certainly that's available to you. We don't live on an island. We don't have an IBM I island. Oftentimes there are other servers that are involved in our processing, so automating and integrating server tasks along with IBM I batch is important. automating document management, management of spool files, management of enterprise reports, critical. Using RPA processes and techniques for automating the manual Windows type desktop processes, and absolutely system monitoring. You're not staring at your server, you're not staring at status screens. You need your server to reach out when there are issues. And certainly in our robot product line, we have tools that will help you automate, monitor, plan out your capacity and growth needs, high availability and backup, report management, and so forth. So if you're struggling with any of these areas and you aren't able to add human resources to manage your systems, putting software tools in place, commercial grade software tools in place now rather than when things get tough, could just save your bacon.
Well, you know, the other aspect of this, Chuck, too, is that as you bring new talent in, these products all have graphical or web-based interfaces too. So people are going to be more willing that are coming off of the, you know, the younger generation are going to want to use that over a green screen.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, let's move on to Donnie and let's talk cybersecurity.
Yeah, so why am I talking about cybersecurity when we're talking about people retiring or ex-frontier skills retiring? Well, the reason being, when we look at the market survey, the marketplace survey results that Tom, our IBM champion, very kindly arranges each year, IBM I skills retiring is one of the issues, but the highest was security or lack of security skills. Now, some of the reasons is the change in regulations. There's more regulations coming. They're accelerating. There's nothing that we can get away from there. And if we look at these trends here from the market survey, like I said, the top one, security, it's always near the top. It just always is. It's a challenge with cybersecurity and the skills required, not just to secure things, but enforce it. And it's not just an aging population and skills leaving the industry issue. This is an ongoing issue. It's we've got to have the correct disciplines within your company on a full-time basis. And look, what I saw that happened in the past, and it still happens now to a certain extent, if you worked in ITOMs or systems management, you kind of became the security officer. That just doesn't work now because cybersecurity is such a big thing. It's not an operational issue, cybersecurity, that IT can solve on their own. And what I always say is cybersecurity is a corporate government issue, but it's typically an IT solution, so it comes down to fix it. So look, you can gain skills in it, you can employ the right people to do it, or maybe utilize some of the amazing solutions like Tom and Chuck talked about robot. We also have the PowerTech solutions here at Help System for cybersecurity. Going to make your life much easier. I'll come on to them a little bit later. Is the IBM I really at risk? Well, with Tom's marketplace survey, we're also now in our 19th year of our cybersecurity and the state of security on IBM I. So are things getting easier? Are they getting worse? Well, luckily, as I say, Robin Tatum, he's our Director of Security Technologies. Most of you will know him. He publishes the annual report, and it's talking to your peers. Everybody in this call, some of you will have contributed to it, but it's your peers that contribute and make this document what it is. So people retire, and people do retire, but typically it's their knowledge and the skills that retire that's the biggest issue. As is the configuration of cybersecurity settings, are your system values set correctly? Is the services running that shouldn't be running or just don't need to be there? So look, they're an entry point onto your system. Have you got old-fashioned insecure FTP services running? Do people take too long changing the passwords? Are they secure enough? Too many people have got the wrong authority or too much authority? It's very, very easy to do. Now, part of the problem is in making sure that security is put right in the first place. Yeah, next bit is enforcing it, keeping it that way. Now, if you can confidently say, yes, everything's fine, well done, but the problem, as I say, is keeping it that way. And that's the problem that we solve. Certainly a challenge, but as Tom and Chuck spoke about automation, security automation is definitely the way forward.
You know, and one of the comments on that too, Donnie, is that in the industry, we're seeing more and more people that are addressing their security issues nowadays on IBM I, more so than in the past, you know, even 2 years ago. But today, we see people that get it. They're realizing, hey, we've had this server a long time and we've made some mistakes. And the state of the security study shows those mistakes.
Absolutely. Yeah, really, really good to show the mistakes that that people have made, but also to show us what you can do about it to make sure that you're not one of those statistics. Now, how do you learn cybersecurity, or how do you make sure you keep on top of it? Well, it's like anything. Cybersecurity is a discipline. It can be taught, it can be learned. But how are you going to educate in cybersecurity? Common. That's one of the ways. Webinars from Help Systems, webinars from Common, seminars are typically free, like this one is free. We can also help you here at Help Systems. We've got services, we've got training to make best use of our security solutions. We can even offer you security consultant services to identify your risk points. Like it'll assist you in remediating the risk points, ensure that once you've got a good cybersecurity baseline, you keep it that way, make it much, much easier. Typically, it's utilizing the PowerTech stable of Cybersecurity Solutions. That we can even take it a step further. If you wish, we can be your virtual security team. We have a service called Managed Security Services that uses the PowerTech solutions and years of experience to keep it that way. We start by identifying your security vulnerabilities on your systems. Talk about IBM I, we do other platforms as well. Going to help you remediate them. We're going to keep them that way continuously, as well as report and audit on them because of the different regulations that are in place. Chuck, what do you think on this? Is it a good way of learning it, or other ways?
We've been doing online security training here at Help Systems for many years, and now we tend to do it more so as an end result of doing one of our security scans. And I think that's a great opportunity as well for people to get into the swing of things in terms of cybersecurity on IBM I.
Yeah, totally agree. I know I'm just very much aware of the time, so don't worry, everybody. I'm not going to talk to all these cybersecurity solutions that we have, but just like we spoke about the robot solutions, we can talk about the PowerTech solutions. The good news is we've got your back covered. We really have. We make it easy. We make sure it stays that way. We spent years with our experience in the security industry to build the portfolio that you see here. Most engagements start, as Chuck mentioned, with a security scan, which is free. I'll come on to that in just a moment. Remember the word free. I know that will make your ears prick up. So we've designed these solutions specifically to satisfy regulatory and legislative compliance. It also makes sure that internal corporate policy is secured. We've taken all the solutions that we can to make sure that everything's secure for you. I'm going to give you an example. The solutions are modular, so you don't have to buy everything. You can buy the bits you need. Start with the most important areas that you need to prioritize. We'll help you with that. I'll tell you how in a moment. And let's say, for example, if you had the perimeter access control solution, if you had the privileged access management solution you can see here, they've got reporting capabilities built in, right? So that's good. You can use it modular. If you want a holistic view, you can buy the compliance reporting that brings more together, gives you centralized reporting. There's even an encryption solution for data at rest and in motion, and also for your backups as well on your IBM I. And then on the next slide, we've mentioned it a number of times, the security scan. Great way to get started to create your own baseline. This will make you look good. This will let you have a look at your systems, see what condition they're in. It's free. Did I mention it's free? It's free. So you run it. It literally takes about 10 to 15 minutes to run. It isn't intrusive. It'll provide you a snapshot of your current security and how it compares to expert-developed benchmarks as well. It gives you a great starting point. We also have it for IBM I, for AIX Linux as well. But this is the IBM I one. It's amazing. And if there's one thing you do after this webinar, strongly recommend you run this. Thanks, Jack.
Yeah, and Donnie, it does come with a free hour or so of consulting to help you digest the results, and certainly it can be very enlightening. All right, and we're going to launch our final polling question of the day. We need help in these areas of IBM I operations. Select all that apply. And while we're waiting for people to reply to that, we do have a couple of outstanding questions. And Tom, you already applied to one regarding a new face.
Yeah, fresh faces. If you do have somebody on your team for fresh faces, please just email me, tom.huntington@helpsystems.com, and I'll put you in contact with the right IBMer to help build a profile around that person. So it'll be a great experience for them. It's a great way to, what do you want to call it, give your staff or employee a great award by being nominated for that. The other thing, Chuck, is really what do you think are the takeaways for people that what practices or things should they be doing differently today as they look for staff?
Well, I think there might have been a little complacency if you go back, 5 or 10 years, and people weren't maybe taking enough initiative to begin the backfill process. All right, so that whole idea of mentoring on the IBM I side, but also mentoring on the business side, teaching people the business, because it seems like in the IT world, IT on IBM I, people really depend on us to understand the business as well, understand the business processes and how to make them more efficient and more accurate.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thanks for participating in our polling question. We really appreciate that. I am going to close the poll. And that brings us to the end of our presentation today. We really appreciate your time. I hope the half hour was well spent. And Donnie, Tom, thanks for joining me this morning. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day. We appreciate your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thanks. Great working, you guys. Thanks, everybody, for joining.